Have you ever wondered how a single gunshot could plunge the entire world into chaos? That's exactly what happened in the summer of 1914, sparking a conflict so immense, it was called the War to End All Wars. This is the story of World War I, a turning point in human history that redrew maps and reshaped our world forever. It all started in the city of Sarajevo. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was assassinated by a Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip. This act lit a fuse in a powder keg of European tensions. For years, a complex web of alliances, fierce nationalism, imperial ambitions, and a massive arms race had been building up. The assassination was just the spark that was needed. Austria-Hungary, backed by its powerful ally Germany, issued a harsh ultimatum to Serbia. When Serbia couldn't meet all the demands, Austria-Hungary declared war. This triggered a domino effect. Russia, allied with Serbia, began to mobilize its army. Germany, feeling threatened, declared war on Russia and then on Russia's ally, France. To invade France, Germany marched through neutral Belgium, which brought Great Britain into the war to defend Belgian neutrality. In just a few weeks, the great powers of Europe were locked in a devastating conflict. The war was fought on multiple fronts. The most famous was the Western Front, a brutal line of trenches stretching from the English Channel to the Swiss border. Here, millions of soldiers from Britain, France, and later, America, faced off against the Germans. Life in the trenches was a nightmare. Soldiers endured constant shelling, mud, rats, and the constant threat of death. They faced new and terrifying weapons. Machine guns made charging across no man's land a suicidal act. Heavy artillery could rain down destruction from miles away. Poison gas, a horrific innovation, caused agonizing death and injury. Tanks were introduced to break the stalemate of the trenches, and airplanes, once used only for reconnaissance, were soon armed and engaged in dogfights in the sky. The Eastern Front was more fluid, with vast armies clashing across Eastern Europe. Russia fought against Germany and Austria-Hungary, suffering enormous casualties that would eventually lead to revolution and their exit from the war in 1917. The war also raged in the Middle East, in Africa, and at sea, truly becoming a global conflict. The year 1917 was a major turning point. The United States, initially neutral, entered the war, partly due to Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare, which sank American ships. This brought a massive influx of fresh troops and resources to the Allied side, tipping the scales. At the same time, Russia's withdrawal allowed Germany to focus all its strength on the Western Front for one last major push. By the autumn of 1918, the German offensive had failed, and their forces were exhausted. With their allies collapsing and their home front facing starvation and revolution, the German High Command realized the war was lost. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, 1918, an armistice was signed, and the guns finally fell silent. The aftermath was staggering. Over 16 million people, both soldiers and civilians, were dead. Empires that had stood for centuries, the Austro-Hungarian, the Ottoman, the German, and the Russian, were gone. The map of Europe was completely redrawn. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war but imposed harsh terms on Germany, creating resentment that would contribute to another world war just 2 decades later. World War I was more than just a war. It was a global trauma that shattered old certainties and ushered in a new, more violent and uncertain era. It's a powerful reminder of how quickly the world can descend into conflict and the immense human cost of war. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more history content. See you in the next one.